Used to going to big academic or corporate or business events, this is not that, okay? So you have to embrace and actively and energetically go find and track down folks that you want to talk to. And in this room right now is a tremendous amount of the open data expertise in and outside of government in the United States. I mean, I'm looking around here and you're all here, so it's a pretty exciting thing. So, you know, keep your eyes and ears open during the hallway sessions because that's when a lot of the real learning here is going to take place here. Really, we want you to be energized and excited and walk away from this ready to make the world and ready to make New York City the best open data city in the entire world. And I'm going to get into some New York City boosterism here. I hope you don't mind. I'm a longtime New Yorker. But we passed the first open data law in the entire world right here in 2012. And the sponsor right here is Gail Brewer, who is our city council member who sponsored that bill, the first in the world. So Gail, thank you for that. The law has been a huge success, a smashing success. There's 1,400 plus data sets online. There's some big whopper data sets that are used all the time, like 311. We're going to hear all about that and get into some of the details later. But more than anything, it's helped spur an open data culture in a positive feedback loop in which that culture has strengthened the law and the law has strengthened the culture. And right now, New York City is a great place to be doing open data. So it's a pretty fun time to be here. And that's why we're doing this event, to bring you together physically in the same space to meet and talk to each other, and also to blur boundaries between tribes. So I'm an open government guy, a public interest guy, and one of the most fun things about open data has been meeting people like Noel and the people at BetaNYC and the Civic technologists and having that cross-fertilization, you know, bees and flowers and all kinds of good times. So thank you, all of you. This is a huge change. You know, there's people here who are going to be like, oh, this guy's hyping this. This is a big deal, and I'll tell you why. This is the first time that we have a law that says government has to put proactively online in an easy-to-use form, easy-to-find form, what it knows, okay? Fundamentally, as good as we could get it. And that is a big change from having to ask government for what it knows. So this is a fundamental paradigm shift. This is a big change. This is a big change thing. Now, where we are in the curve right now in open data in New York City is somewhere here. We have not reached takeoff. We're not there yet. We have not reached the promised land, and that is a steep curve, and there's a lot that will still happen and needs to happen here. So all of this excitement that we feel now is the excitement of people looking at a tremendous amount of opportunity and promise that we can't even really identify yet. So the big items for open data that people here all know about are things like the US government's decision to make GPS available to civilians, right? A big, big deal. Or weather data. Really, really big deals because they created huge opportunities for business, for everyday life, to let us know how the physical world is working and where we are even. And we don't know what the GPS is. We don't know what the weather data is yet that New York City is releasing, and we don't know how to use it yet. So a lot of this is about going into unknowns and trying to figure out how to use stuff. And there's still a ton of other things that haven't happened yet either. We still have a tale of two data cities. We have the open data world, and then we have the government data world, which have not quite merged yet. So we have government doing lots of analytics, and we have the public looking at open data and wondering, how do we use this? What do we do here? So this is a time of a lot of tension, creative tension, and trying to solve problems and figure out roles. So a lot of progress in a short amount of time, a lot, right? 2012, this bill passes. It really takes effect, you know, about a year later. And what does the bill do, and why are we excited about it? Again, it's a specific mandate, and it fills in the details of how government is supposed to provide data, quantitative information, tabular data to the public. And this is the rubber meets the road part. This is the messy part. This is the governance part. So a lot of what we're going to talk about here today in the halls and here and in the sessions is how do you actually make this law work, and how do you actually get data and useful data and high quality data into the hands of the public in a way that's meaningful and useful to everyone. And we're going to ask more questions than we're going to have answers because we don't have the answers yet. Again, we're still here. We're still here in this curve. So this is about learning and striving and struggling to some degree too. Revolutionary idea, okay? I've been doing public interest work for 30 years. I know I don't look that old. Maybe I do to some of you. But this is the single biggest paradigm changer, potentially, that I have seen. And I've passed a whole bunch of state and city laws, and none are as foundational as the New York City open data law. None, okay? We're so far from that foundational change it's affecting, but the premise is revolutionary. The premise is that it is the public's right to have that information provided to it on the internet for free, right? No restrictions, no licensing. So go with that for a second. Think about all the implications of that for a second. That is a big, big change, right? So we have antecedents. We have the Freedom of Information Law in the 1970s, which is you ask for information. It's a petition process where you get information from people. We have this new world of data and things happening with GPS and weather. We have Obama's Open Government Initiative in 2009, White House directive, right, which sets the stage for New York City to start doing this. And we have people doing things like big apps competitions, which are creating a culture and priming the pump for open data. So what we're all about here is expectations and trying to bridge the gap between those expectations and the potential. This is about potential, and this is about expectations, and this is about getting there. So we're trying to get there. So today is about opportunity for you, because this is your chance to name mountains. Really is right now, folks. In open data world, there are things that you could do as a 16-year-old high school kid right now that will make a big difference, get you in the paper or the online paper or a blog or whatever, solving a problem for your community, for your neighborhood. This is blue sky space still. This is a space that the little guy can still change the world in right now. So it's a very exciting time in that way here, and I hope that people seize this time to make the most of these things here. Now, we're going to be talking about some vexing specific problems with New York City's implementation a little later. So for all the people who are in the trenches and are like, oh, geez, I just want to get to the good part, we'll get there. Don't worry about it. It can be hard. There are things that we need to overcome here. There are some things that are real challenges, and there are a lot of questions. But that's what this is about. This is about learning from each other and trying to identify those problems and identify some more solutions to them. So with that, let school begin. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sean.